Good morning, everybody. The book I will be presenting this morning is called Little Black Sambo by Helen Bannerman. It was written and illustrated in 1899 while she was living in India. She was the daughter of a British officer, and she also married a medical officer, and she wrote and illustrated this book for her two daughters. Now, at the time when she wrote and illustrated this book, of course, she did it in India. It was about India. But the next year, it was published in America. So you can guess the backlash that occurred from the African American people, not only just the African Americans, but all Americans. But I thought it was a perfect example of how a book can be taken out of context and out of content for which it was written. The clothes in the other pages of the book is typical of India wear, but if people would have understood the background of the book, they probably wouldn't have jumped to so many conclusions. I'm taking the pictures that I have put on my computer because there's a snowstorm outside, and I'm not going to go out to my car to retrieve the book. So that's why I copy and pasted them and put them on my computer, so you're seeing them on the computer. So the story of Little Black Sambo is a wonderful one. He is going to the store, and he has to go through the jungle to get to the store to buy some fancy new shoes to go with his outfit that his mother made him. His outfit consisted of a bright red jacket, some blue trousers, and of course he took his green umbrella with him. And green is actually a color on the Indian flag, still is. So as he goes through the jungle, he meets a tiger, and a tiger promises not to eat him if he gives him his red jacket. Well, then of course tiger number 2 comes along and wants his blue trousers. And he gives his clothes piece by piece. He outwits the tigers and gets them to start chasing each other. And they chase each other so fast around the tree that they turn into butter. Now, another reason why I chose this book was because I adored it growing up. I didn't understand why tigers ran around the tree and turned into butter. But as soon as I understood we were going to be reading controversial literature this week, this book popped into my mind right away. So as I did some history on it, India, especially where she wrote this book, the lowlands of India, they cannot use typical oil or lard or Crisco that we use in America. They use something called ghee, G-H-E-E. And what that is clarified butter. And after they clarify the butter can be stored. It's part of their daily diet. They also use it in creams, lotions, face emollients. It's very, very it is 100% part of their culture and eating habits. So after I read that, I'm like, okay, now that makes sense. So when the tigers turn into butter, Little Black Sambo scoops up the butter in his umbrella, takes it home, and his mom is so happy to have it, she makes 169 pancakes. Now, I thought the 169, that number particularly was interesting, but I could not find reference to it anywhere. There's got to be a reference to it somewhere. I'm sure Mrs. Bannerman had something, an idea why she put 169. I just haven't been able to find reference to it anywhere. So, but then we go to the States and it's blown completely out of proportion. So it's pretty easy to see why this is controversial. But I think it's also sad because she created this book for her daughters and India. India fell in love with this book. They saw no reason for the hysterics about it at all. Throughout the years, there have been different illustrations. Here's some of them. This is probably the one I remember the most. This was Little Golden Books. Little Black Sambo has a turban. The umbrella is a different shape, more typical and traditional of today. The tigers are different, but the storyline has never, ever been changed. This is the one you can buy on eBay. Actually, you can buy all of them, and it's considered a collector's item. So the original one with the original illustrations I have found for $96. Like I said, it's the size of a golden book. But I thought it was just a great example of controversial literature and how a book that was so loved and created in the beginning as a gift to not only her children but the country, was totally taken out of context and content, and it was banned in several states. Toronto, Canada banned it. It was in the court for years, and finally they won. It was taken off the shelves of many libraries. So it definitely helped shape certain attitudes. It was definitely controversial throughout the years. I could definitely see both sides of it. I can see the positive and negative sides of the book. But at the same time, if you look at the sociological perspective of it, it was written in India, for India, and they had no problem with it whatsoever. So I thought this was an excellent example. So I hope everyone has a great week. Thanks a lot. Bye.